We finna react to T Grizzley sentence. Goodbye forever. My fault. Man, what you doing, T? We probably on GTA RP. You bullshitting. I ain't gonna lie. You bullshitting.
Grizzly's aunt and manager was gunned down in Detroit while sitting in the back seat of a car he had just stepped out of. At first, the streets thought it was meant for him, but now, courtroom testimony, defense statements, and street rumors are all pointing at something else entirely, that T Grizzley might have had her lined up on purpose. The alleged motive? She was pregnant, and the shooter, caught with the murder weapon and getaway car, is saying through his lawyer that T paid for the hit. Stay tuned, because this case is about to get messy. Wrong seat, the killing of J.B. Brown. On August 20th, 2019, Jobina J.B. Brown, T Grizzley's aunt and longtime manager, was killed in Detroit while riding in a Cadillac Escalade with T and a driver. Around 9 p.m., the SUV was moving through the city when a shooter approached on foot and opened fire. J.B. was sitting in the back seat on the left side. The driver later told police the shooter fired 3 or 4 shots and that J.B. screamed right before the shooter went off. T Grizzley was in the front passenger seat and had stepped out of the vehicle as the shooter was walking up. J.B. was rushed to a local hospital but died from her wounds. She was 41 years old. T and the driver weren't hit. Police couldn't confirm if T was the intended target, and at the time, it was just seen as a tragic. But in the streets and on social media, people started talking. Rumors popped up that maybe it was deeper, that maybe T himself set it up. At first, it sounded like pure conspiracy, but it didn't stay that way. In a later interview, T Grizzley explained what happened in more detail. He said they were in a Chrysler 300, not an Escalade like earlier reports said. He and JB were in the back, with JB sitting on the passenger side. They were being driven somewhere and had to stop at T's family house on his dad's side before heading to their destination. When they pulled up, T got out from the rear driver's side and started walking to the porch. As soon as he stepped out, a gun ran up, opened the back passenger door, and started shooting into the car.
They walked up to my door and opened my door. You know what I'm saying? Open my door, trying to get at me.
T, so what you telling me is they ran down on TT. They didn't just shoot at that bitch. They opened the door. But looking for you though, they opened the door. And still, I muted my mom, and still blew. They still blew when they opened the door and see TT. And they didn't see your big ass on the porch. I ain't gonna lie. If they had enough fucking time to swing the door open and look at her, niggas ain't have enough time to run and see your big ass on the porch, gang. I'm just a reactor though, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what to say. T, you bushing. All I gotta say is mine. Just send me an invite to GTA. RP on some shit.
He ended up hitting her up.
What they hit her on the body?
They hit her on her side and her arm. She didn't hit her face, and I just.
Didn't say anything, just slid up, opened the door, and let off rounds directly into the spot JB was sitting. According to T, they thought he was sitting there. That's why they targeted the back passenger side. Whoever was behind it, they were coming for T, but they got the wrong seat and JB got hit instead. Jobina J.B. Brown wasn't just T Grizzley's aunt, she was the foundation of his career. When T got out and started building his name in the industry, JB stepped in as his manager and handled everything. She didn't come from the music world, but she learned quick and locked in. She was behind the scenes booking shows, structuring his business, and making sure the brand moved right. She wasn't just paperwork and contracts. She was the trusted voice in every decision, the one person T kept close through all the early chaos. When people looked at T's rise, she was part of it. Her management wasn't some temporary title. She was fully in it, riding with him, showing up, making calls, protecting the image and the money. Now the situation's gotten even crazier. The Suspect's legal team is saying this wasn't just a hit gone wrong. They're claiming T. Grizzley actually paid for the hit. That defense is being presented in court. What started as online talk and street rumors has now turned into an official claim in front of a judge. Whether there's truth to it or not, the fact that this accusation is being used in court puts a whole new spin on the case. The rise and shadows of T. Grizzley. T. Grizzley came up in the Joy Road section of Detroit's West Side, raised in a household where survival came before structure. With both of his parents in and out of the system, most of his early years were spent under his grandmother's roof. The streets were right outside his door, and by the time he was in high school, prison visits were already a part of normal life. His mom got hit with a 15-year sentence for drug trafficking when T was just a teenager, and not long after, his father was found. T tried a different route, enrolling at Michigan State University to study finance and accounting, but school didn't hold up against the pressure of trying to survive. In 2014, he got caught breaking into dorm rooms on campus, and after fleeing the state, was arrested in Kentucky for a string.
Nigga, you breaking in dorm rooms? The dorm rooms. Fuck, you finna steal a book? Pencil and paper, nigga? Fuck, what? What's in the dorm room, though? I don't think she don't be in them hoes. Like that? You fucking menace. Sit the fuck down. Sit down.
Robberies that landed him in prison, where he spent nearly 3 years locked down, split between Michigan and Kentucky. It was during that stretch behind bars that T started writing seriously. He came home in 2016 and recorded First Day Out, just days after being released. That song changed everything. Raw, detailed, and unapologetic. It hit over 1 million YouTube views in less than a week. The track caught Jay-Z's attention, then LeBron's.
Boom, 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 boom. Help. Hit the rolling stone with the rollie on. Jag portfolio. So you lonely?
Before long, T was signed to 300 Entertainment and took off fast. He dropped My Moment in 2017, then activated in 2018, which charted on Billboard and earned him a BET nomination. Songs like From the D to the A with Lil Yachty and No Effort helped solidify his voice, aggressive, sharp, and rooted in real loss. He rapped about prison, pain, loyalty, and betrayal, and fans connected with the authenticity. But T's rise wasn't clean. In 2018, he caught backlash for dissing T.I.'s friend in No Talking, and again in 2019 when a leaked snippet of him dissing Eminem started circulating, though T later denied any beef. He's also had tension with local Detroit artists and occasional public spats, including a brief rift with Sada Baby that played out on social media before being squashed years later. Through it all, T kept the brand moving, releasing scriptures, Built for Whatever, and his storytelling series Chapters of the Trenches, trying to balance pain, street ethics, and mainstream pressure. But the one constant in his corner during all of this, when he was broke, locked up, rising and rich, was his aunt and manager, Jobina Brown. The one person who moved with him through every chapter is the one who got shot and left to die in the backseat of a car during a stop that only a few people even knew about.
Really want to rap, you know what I'm saying? A lot of them just wouldn't take me serious.
Bless me with a banger they can't fold. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Like, you better go get a job. What you trying to rap for and all this other stuff?
Right.
Silence and Suspects, the aftermath. Right after the T. Grizzley got a call from JB. She was still alive for a moment, still breathing. He said she couldn't really form words, but she called him while she was dying. She had been hit 8 times. T said the came for him. They opened his door and into the car, thinking he was sitting on that side. He said he had no idea where it came from, but at that moment, he looked at everybody like a suspect. And it turns out that instinct wasn't wrong. Wu Thing, also known as Wu 600, was later arrested for the He's from 600, same circle as T. He's close to Buka 600, who was even one of the groomsmen at T's wedding. Even after the arrest, T kept being seen around 600 members like Buka, which had the streets confused. Wu got picked up in Chicago. Cops found him sitting in an alley inside a stolen car with a firearm. But this wasn't just any car. It was the same getaway vehicle used in the hit on JB, and the gun. After ballistics testing, it was confirmed as the weapon that phone records showed Wu's location at the time too. He was sitting at that exact spot for 2 hours before T and JB even pulled up. That right there raised red flags. If this stop wasn't planned, if it was just a last-minute decision, how did the know where to be? And why would he be sitting there with the car and the weapon, just waiting? If it was T they were after and they saw him get out the car, why would they the back passenger seat? It made no sense. Not to the public, not to the police. According to sources close to the investigation, people who were actually in the room, not secondhand talk, the police chief looked T Grizzley straight in the face and told him, "I know you're involved somehow. I'ma get to the bottom of this." That was the energy behind the scenes. Cops felt like T wasn't telling the whole truth, but they didn't have enough to charge him. Still, the fact that the was
I suffered from chronic pelvic floor dysfunction, chronic pain in my pelvic floor for
was someone from T's circle, sitting in the whip with the same hours before the stop, just added fuel to the fire. The reason police couldn't move on T Grizzley was simple. No one was talking. Wu 600 stayed quiet the whole time. That is, until he showed up in court. That courtroom appearance changed everything. What went down in there was the first time T's name came up officially, not just in street rumors. The same police chief who pressed T earlier wasn't just talking behind his back. He'd already told T to his face, "We know you're involved somehow." That same chief went to JB's mother and sister and said the same thing. They believed T had something to do with it, and for real, it wasn't just personal beef. Cops had something they thought was a motive. After JB was killed, T Grizzley's energy never fully matched the situation. Most artists would have stepped back, gone quiet, or distanced themselves from anything tied to the incident, but T didn't really move like that. Just a year later, he married and had members of 600, including Booker 600, standing next to him at the wedding. From the outside, that made no sense. If Wu's clique was responsible for a hit that supposedly targeted you but ended up your aunt, why would you still be standing with them like nothing happened? He never spoke on that. No public distancing. No statement saying he didn't rock with them anymore. He just kept moving like everything was cool. Even when the courtroom heat started rising, T didn't show any public shift. No
Got your big ass out there dancing. Sit your ass down.
outburst denying the claims, no interviews clearing his name. When he did speak on it, people who talked to him said it felt off, like he was forcing emotion, like he was acting out grief instead of actually feeling it. And in the music, he dropped Sadish after JB's death, which sounded like pain, but after that, he didn't stay on that energy. T Grizzley clearly mentions JB when he raps out, "Look how they tried to do me, but got JB. You saw it wasn't me and still what she do to you?" No deep cuts reflecting on the situation. No real shift in tone. Most fans expected more, but what they got was business as usual. More chains, more flexes, more music about loyalty and betrayal, but never once circling back to the biggest betrayal tied to his name. That made people look twice. Not just fans, but JB's own family. Because if the man at the center of this ain't grieving hard, and he's still breaking bread with the same crew that might have lined her, then it don't feel like pain. It feels like silence. And silence like that, that's what gets people talking. JB was pregnant by T Grizzley. You see, JB was married to T's uncle, but 3 months before she was killed, that uncle got locked up. After that, T allegedly started sleeping with JB. They never said it out loud in public.
The fuck? Fuck y'all got going down? Y'all got going on down there in Detroit, right? Y'all on some freak shit. Hold on. Let my shit lock the fuck in. Please lock the fuck in for this. Nigga, you sleeping with your TT? That's nasty. It's your mama's sister, nigga. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with her? What's wrong with y'all? It's 4 in the fucking morning. Looking at this shit. The fuck?
But family started noticing quick. It became a known thing inside the family, and it started to spread. Police looked at that like motive, messy enough to spark a hit. Even though T and JB never confirmed the relationship, law enforcement locked in on that timeline. Then came the rumor that JB was pregnant. That rumor didn't come from TMZ or Instagram. It came from the courtroom, and it didn't come from prosecutors either. It came from the defense. Wu 600's own attorney stood up in court and said, obviously, T Grizzley put the hit out on Jobina Brown. Wu's attorney claimed the reason T did this was that she was pregnant. That's how street dudes are telling now, through their lawyers. They're not getting on the stand. They're not pointing fingers in person. But they feeding it all to the attorneys, then letting them say it in court. And if Woo's defense lawyer is saying that in open court, that means Woo gave that story up. That's his legal defense. T Grizzley ordered the hit, and the reason was that JB was pregnant. Now, prosecutors don't even need to believe T is innocent. They just focused on convicting Woo, so they brought in an expert witness, someone from the coroner's office or medical examiner, to confirm on record that JB was not pregnant. That shut down the claim factually, but it doesn't erase the intent. The point is, if Woo believed she was pregnant and acted on that, it doesn't matter that she wasn't. That still makes T look bad, because if this really was a hit, and if T had anything to do with it, then he may have believed she was pregnant. Even if the pregnancy was never real, shooters might have been told that's why she had to go. That's what makes this whole thing darker. The courtroom is now the place where the rumors are being confirmed, not denied, and the shooters, they already started talking, just not with their mouths, through the legal paperwork, and it's all pointing in one direction. Prosecutors were quick to push back. They brought in a medical examiner to confirm JB wasn't pregnant. That shut down the claim on a technical level, but it didn't kill the suspicion. Because if Woo believed she was pregnant, then it's possible someone told him that was the reason she needed to be taken out. That intention still lingers, and if the defense is saying it in court, it's already out there. T knows it too. He knows somebody in his circle is leaking information to the other side. The court didn't stop there. Woo's team tried to get key evidence tossed, specifically the phone linked to the scene. Their argument was that the phone wasn't under Woo's name, but it didn't matter. The number had already been tied to Woo through probation check-ins, family contact, and other cases. That number was his, and the court wasn't buying the name game. The motion failed. That evidence stayed in, and that's bad for Woo, because if the phone, the car, and the gun all stick, and Woo gets convicted, he won't keep quiet anymore. That's when the real telling starts. And if his defense is already pointing fingers at T before any deal is even on the table, just imagine what happens when the pressure really hits. If T Grizzley really is involved, then hearing what was said in court means he already knows somebody in his circle is talking. If he told that motive to someone, like JB being pregnant, and now that exact detail gets brought up in court by the defense, then he knows where it leaked from. That means the flipping, just doing it through legal strategy. It's not looking good. On top of that, the is trying to get key evidence thrown out. He's saying the phone tied to the crime scene can't be used against him because it's registered under someone else's name. But that move didn't work. Even though the name on the phone doesn't match, the number is locked in. He's been using that same number for family, probation, all that. It's known to be his. The court's not dismissing it. That evidence stays. The driver who was behind the wheel when JB was killed gave crucial testimony too. He said the whole thing went down just 45 seconds after T stepped out of the car. That timeline is tight. T got out the rear driver's side and started walking to the porch of the house they stopped at. Based on where the pulled up and where the car was parked, would have had a clear line of sight to T. The porch wasn't blocked. T's 6 feet 3 inches, 350 pounds, hard to miss. If he was really the target, there was no reason to open the back passenger door and start dumping. You could see T plain as day. That only makes sense if JB was the target, or at least if the weren't there for T. After someone who spoke to T directly about what happened said something was off. They asked him how he sounded, if he was emotional or shaken. The person said it felt fake, like he was forcing the pain, trying to act like he was distraught, but it didn't feel natural. Couldn't really explain it, but they said the way he spoke about it didn't match the situation, like he was trying to perform grief instead of actually feeling it. When you add that to everything else, using his lawyer to throw T's name out, the failed alibi around the phone, the timeline, the clear line of sight, it's all stacking up. The case ain't closed, but the pieces keep pointing one way. The case that could expose T Grizzley. Sada Baby was signed to Jobina Brown too. She wasn't just T's manager, she was managing Sada at the time of her death. When it came time to identify her body, Sada was one of the ones who showed up. It was him and either Jobina's sister or her mom who had to do it. What's interesting is how things between T and Sada played out after that. They didn't fall out publicly, but they definitely weren't moving like a tight duo anymore. No more major collabs, no joint tours, no big press showing them side by side like before. Whether they drifted on purpose or just let things fade, the connection changed. But even with that, things don't sit right. Court dates are coming up and people are going to be in the room. His lawyer already dropped T's name in front of the judge. At this point, Woo 600 isn't fully cooperating, not in the sense of testifying, but his defense strategy is making the same impact. They're trying to get the phone evidence thrown out, saying they can't prove it's his phone. If that works, it weakens the case, which is why Wu hasn't really folded yet. His team thinks they can beat it. But if he gets convicted, if they prove he was at the scene with that burner in that car, the walls are closing in. After that, it's a wrap. He's gonna talk. It always happens.
Oh my God, oh my God. What we got going on? It's over for you, T. It's over for you.
Started off
Listen to
as a
this
simple
shit.
conspiracy. It's now escalated to the point where the suspect defense is in court saying that T Grizzly paid for the hit. Let's do a quick recap just to make sure everybody is caught up on this situation.
It be your own fucking people. Then it be the fucking person who did dumb shit.
And if you're not caught up and didn't watch the other two videos, you could go to the T Grizzly playlist to get caught up. But T Grizzly auntie Jobina Brown was in 2019.
Sad to have to report this, but Jobina JB Brown, the manager and aunt of T Grizzly, was in Detroit on Tuesday night, August 20th. Comments about her began servicing Wednesday, August 21st on social media before her passing was confirmed by TMZ. According to law enforcement sources,
I'm gonna speed it up a little bit for y'all. Y'all already know about that.
Passenger
Y'all already know about that.
Okay. The car, they hit her 8 times though.
walked to the port talking about hearsay. I'm not talking about associates.
Listen
I'm
to
talking
this shit.
everything I tell you, they've been in the room when it happened. I'm not talking about, hey yo, I heard this, hey yo, Pookie told me. No, I'm talking about when I tell you something in this video, understand, the person I heard it from was in the room when it happened. The person that told me is connected directly to the situation. I was told the police chief looked T Grizzly in his eyes and told him, I know you involved somehow. I'm gonna get down to the bottom of this. The police chief thought this. The police chief thought that T Grizzly was involved somehow. They just couldn't prove it. They just couldn't connect the dots because people wasn't talking. Whoever this Wu Thing guy is,
Go.
he been quiet.
I'll let you know.
That's until he went to that courtroom today. That's until he went to that courtroom. Oh, and we're gonna talk about what happened in that courtroom. It's not looking good for T Grizzly what took place in that courtroom. But the police chief told T Grizzly, we know you involved somehow.
Tweaking.
Now you could say the police chief is salty. They got something.
Tweak.
What would you say to somebody that hasn't tried therapy before?
Just ask yourself if what you're doing in your life right now.
The family ain't buying any of this either. JB's people been suspicious of T from early on, and when asked why, the answer was simple. He kept hanging around the same crew they believe set the whole thing up. From the family's point of view, that don't make sense. If Wu's clique was responsible for the hit, and that hit was meant for you, then why are you still rocking with them? The family ain't dumb. They see who's around, and they feel like T is still standing next to the people who their aunt, daughter, sister, mother, wife. That's not rumors. That's how the family feels. What started off as a conspiracy, something people laughed off or called a reach, is now center stage in court. It's no longer just internet chatter. It's being said by defense attorneys in front of a judge. And this ain't even street politics, because JB wasn't in the field out there being gangster. If she got lined and if T had anything to do with it, even on some cover-up or personal motive, it's not about gang wars. It's not getting back. That's a family hit. That's something else entirely. And when you look at how this all started, with T smashing his uncle's wife just 3 months after his uncle got sentenced to 9 years, it shows where his head was. T Grizzly's uncle had just started a 9-year prison bid when, according to multiple sources, T allegedly began sleeping with his uncle's wife, Jobina Brown, the same woman who had been his manager and who was considered family by blood and by bond. If that timeline holds up and T really moved in like that just 3 months after his uncle got locked up, it's not just messy, it sends a loud message about the level of betrayal involved, especially when it's coming from someone who talks loyalty in every track. That ain't just disrespect, that's betrayal. In the streets, that type of move means you're not loyal to anybody. And what makes it worse is T's whole image. He raps heavily about loyalty, backdooring, and watching who you trust. But if he really did this, that's the definition of a backdoor. Ain't no ops involved, ain't no rivals. That's family lining up family. The same man screaming loyalty over everything in his tracks might have crossed his own blood for personal reasons. Now it's not just the streets asking questions. The courtroom is in it. The defense attorney stood up and straight said T put the hit out on JB, and the reason was that she was pregnant. Whether or not it's true, that line didn't come from the internet. It came from the man on trial for the... His lawyer said that on record, and people paying attention are seeing how it's playing out, the way T's been moving, the people he's still standing next to, the timelines, the motive. It's stacking. A blogger covering all this even said straight up, if anything happens to him, if he ends up dead, it's on T. He brought up LA ties, said T got out there. Whether it's paranoia or facts, that's the type of fear this whole case is creating. It's not just some rap beef or a one-off hit. It's tied to personal relationships, loyalty violations, and now potential courtroom confessions.
The rumors that Jobina Brown was pregnant came from court, and it wasn't a prosecution who put that theory out there. It was the defense. It was Wu-Tang's defense.
This whole case made the whispers loud enough to echo out of the blocks and into courtrooms. Even without proof, street theory locked in fast, and now it's incorporated into the legal narrative too. In r/Chiricology, users are increasingly taking the defense's courtroom claims seriously. I mean, the rumor been that he got her knocked off. Now that rumor's stronger than ever. They saying T Grizzley backdoor the auntie. Another thread sums it bluntly. That just mean T Grizzley backdoor his auntie, found out she wasn't her actual auntie, just a manager. On another post, the whole thing is weird because T follows his aunt's. Either he paid this dude to his aunt or just keeping tabs on them. A Detroit native in the subreddit gave a deeper breakdown of the street context. Born and raised in Detroit, ever since the situation happened to T-Ann, it's always been rumblings about him having some type of involvement in her. People connect the dots. T's links to 600, the court case, rumors of him impregnating JB, and how his alliances shifted in the music scene. Here's what people on the block are saying.
Getting your TT pregnant though is in fucking insane. That shit insane though. I ain't know that shit.
I mean, the rumor been...
If that shit true, nigga. Yeah, I know these pages be lying and shit. If that shit true though, that's some nasty ass shit.
Got her knocked off. Now that rumor's stronger than ever. Others post, they saying T Grizzley backdoor the auntie. That's not law, but it shows how the narrative shifted once the defense brought T's name into a courtroom. This case ain't over, but the weight of the rumors, courtroom statements, and street whispers keep stacking against T Grizzley. What started as a tragedy in Detroit has spiraled into a web of betrayal, silence, and suspicion, where even T's own people, family, and associates are looking at him sideways, with the lawyer pointing the finger, with JB's family questioning his loyalty, and with the streets saying what the courts won't. It's clear this ain't just about who pulled the trigger. It's about who knew, who stayed quiet, and who might have played a role in lining up the one person who stood by T through everything. Whether the truth ever comes out or stays buried under sealed files and sealed lips, one thing's already clear. This wasn't random.